Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking through some NFL player props that I like for this week for the wild card weekend games. The NFL playoffs do start on Saturday. We've got 2 games on Saturday, we've got 3 games on Sunday, and then we have a game on Monday night. Now, for the content, from a content perspective, I plan on making a video for each kind of slate of games. So this video is going to be strictly for the Saturday games. Texans, Browns, and then Chiefs and Dolphins, the 2 games on Saturday. I do plan on making a video for the 3 games on Sunday, and then I do plan on making a video for Monday Night Football as well. Obviously, I'm not going to upload all 3 videos at the same time. I'll kind of space them out. This video for Saturday is getting posted late Friday night, and then I'll probably post the video for Sunday's games sometime on Saturday, maybe like Saturday afternoon, Saturday night. And then for Monday Night Football, I'll post that video probably sometime on Sunday night. So I did want to get back into making some NFL content for Prizepicks for the playoffs. I haven't made any Prizepicks content for NFL on YouTube since like Christmas Day. It's been a while. But obviously, the playoffs are here. Everyone's going to be watching the playoffs. I'm sure you guys are going to want some Prizepicks plays to play. So I've got 2 picks to give you guys that I do like for the Saturday games, for the 2 games. I do have a play that I like from each game. So we're going to talk through each one of these 2 plays and share why I like them. Before we do get started though, guys, as always, if you guys do enjoy these Prizepicks videos, if they do help you out, make sure you hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And if you guys are new to the channel and if you don't have an account over on Prizepicks, you can sign up for Prizepicks linked down below in the description, or just use that promo code NOAH when you do sign up for Prizepicks, and you will get your first deposit matched up to $100. And I do want to also shout out Sleeper, because we do have a partnership with Sleeper as well. And if you guys don't have an account over on Sleeper, you can download the Sleeper app either on your App Store if you have an iPhone, or on the Google Play Store if you have an Android. They do have an app for both. Download the Sleeper app, make a deposit, use that promo code NOAH when you do sign up for Sleeper, and you'll get your first deposit matched up to $500. Now, if you don't know what Sleeper is, they are an app similar to Prizepicks. They're similar to a lot of the DFS pick'em apps you see around the industry. You are able to win up to 100x your money over on Sleeper, and Sleeper does offer a multiplier payout system. So what that means is each prop has a multiplier given basically what the prop pays out. It obviously does differ depending on if you take the over or the under, but most multipliers, I think like the average payout per multiplier, or per pick I should say, is like the average payouts like 1.75x, something like that, 1.7 1.75, something like that. But there's certain props that can range from anywhere from like a 3.5 4x multiplier to sometimes they have props with like a 1.5 or 1.05 1.1x multiplier. But Sleeper does offer a lot of props. They offer some props you can't find on other sites. Like on Sleeper, you can take anytime touchdown props. You can get some higher payouts for those if that's something that you are interested in. So if you guys don't have an account over on Sleeper, check them out, sign up, and use that promo code NOAH. When you do sign up for Sleeper, you'll get your first deposit matched up to $500. But let's talk through the 2 picks, guys, that I do like for Saturday's NFL games. We're going to start off first with the Browns and Texans game. Talk about a prop that I like in this one, and then we're going to go to the Dolphins and Chiefs game, talk about a prop that I like in that game. So the 2 props we're going to take a look at are both going to be fantasy score props. If you don't know what fantasy score is, if you're new to Prizepicks, it's pretty much like it's fantasy points. So if you've ever played fantasy football, Prizepicks uses the same scoring system that pretty much every fantasy football league uses. On Prizepicks, it is full PPR, so you do get a point per reception. But you can see how the scoring chart is calculated. If you are confused, if you don't know how fantasy score works, just look at the scoring chart. That's how you calculate fantasy score. That's how points are calculated. So the first fantasy score prop that I do like that we're going to take a look at is going to be Devin Singletary, 13 fantasy points. And I like the over here for Singletary, more than 13 fantasy points. So let's kind of take a look at Singletary's props for this week, just kind of what he's projected for. So his rushing yards prop is set at 65.5. Obviously, Prizepicks does have like the demon and the goblin stuff that you can take a look at, but his baseline, his median rushing yard prop is set at 65.5. His receiving yards prop is set at 13.5, and then he does have a receptions prop of 2.5. So he's basically projected for about 65 rush yards. He's projected for about 10, 15 receiving yards, and he's projected for like 2 to 3 catches. Well, if you add all those numbers up, that's around 10, 11 fantasy points right there, and that doesn't factor in potential touchdown equity. Obviously, on Prizepicks for fantasy score, you get 6 points for rushing touchdowns and receiving touchdowns as well. And Singletary, he is going to be locked in as a true bell cow running back. If you look at his just touches lately, he has been averaging over 21 touches per game over the Texans' last 4 games, and that does include a game against the Browns where the Texans were playing from behind. They didn't have C.J. Stroud that week, so like if you look at Singletary's fantasy score, like you look at this game against the Browns where he only had 9.3 fantasy points, take that with a grain of salt because C.J. Stroud was out that week. They started Davis Mills at quarterback, and that was also a game where the Texans were playing from behind. They lost 36-22, and I think they scored like 2 touchdowns late in the fourth quarter, so it was kind of like a blowout when they played Cleveland. But again, they didn't have C.J. Stroud that week. Take that with a grain of salt. Singletary also only played on 44% of the snaps that week. Well, the last 2 weeks, we have really seen Singletary take over as like a true bell cow running back for this Texans team. I mean, he has completely iced Dameon Pierce. Like, Dameon Pierce didn't even play a single offensive snap last week. Singletary played on 88% of the snaps, which was a season high for him. You did see Dare Anguabale. I don't know exactly how to say his last name, but he wound up playing only 7 offensive snaps. So the Texans are using Singletary right now as a true bell cow running back. Again, he played a season high 88% of the snaps last week. That was obviously a very important game against the Colts. It was a must-win game to get into the playoffs. This is obviously a must-win game, in the postseason. We can expect the Texans to continue to use Singletary as a true bell cow running back. I mean, and the books are expecting that because if you look at like his rush attempts prop, he's projected for 17 carries here. He's projected for almost 2 to 3 catches. That's basically like he's projected for 20 touches. So the volume is going to be great for Singletary. The matchup against the Browns, is it the best matchup possible? Obviously not. But the Browns have not been like stout against the run. They've just kind of been like a middling run defense so far this season. When it comes to like rush yards allowed to running backs, they've been like middle of the pack. They've given up 9 rushing touchdowns, which is about middle of the pack as well. So I don't think the matchup's like terrible here for Singletary. The volume though, the workload's great. This game's being played in the Houston Stadium, so the Texans are at home here. Obviously that's kind of important this weekend because you take a look at the games this weekend. There's a lot of games. There's a couple games with some really bad weather. Well, this game's going to be played indoors in the dome. No weather concerns here. This game does have one of the higher totals of all the playoff games. I think it has the second highest total behind the I think it has second high or third highest total behind the Packers Cowboys game. So there's expected to be some points scored in this one. The workload has been great for Singletary lately. Not only is he getting a ton of usage on the ground, but he's also been getting usage in the passing game, getting those running backs that can catch passes along with the carries they're going to get. That just makes their fantasy upside even higher, makes their floor even higher. And I was looking at some projections kind of around the industry. This is something that I like to do. I like to compare projections, from other DFS sites, from other DFS pick'em platforms. We talked about Sleeper at the beginning of the video. Well, Sleeper, they also offer fantasy scores, and they currently have Singletary's fantasy score line set at 15.7. So they're almost 3 points higher than what Prizepicks has. And then looking at the projections that I use for my own DFS play, playing like DFS on DraftKings and on FanDuel and on Yahoo, the projections that I use for my own DFS play, they also have Singletary projected for 15.7 fantasy points. So this line of 13 on Prizepicks does feel a little bit low for Singletary here. Again, matchup might not be like the greatest, but I don't think it's the worst either. The Browns defense has been way worse on the road this season for what it's worth. If you look at the Browns in terms of like points allowed at home compared to on the road, like it's been a significant difference. I had the stat pulled up. I'm going to pull it up real quick just to confirm. But this season, the Browns are giving up only 13.9 points per game at home, but nearly 30 points per game on the road. So like, I don't really look at home and road splits that much, but man, like the Browns defense has been way worse on the road. So I don't mind the spot here for Singletary at all. And again, the workload's great. He played 88% of the snaps last week. You never see that these days for a running back. Getting a running back that's going to be out there for that many snaps, he can easily just fall into 13 fantasy points, especially if he's going to be out there catching passes too, which Singletary will do. So that's the first play I like for tonight, guys, or for Saturday, I should say, is Devin Singletary more than 13 fantasy score. And then the play that I like to pair with that from the Chiefs and Dolphins game, We're going to look at Tua's fantasy score of 15.5, and we're going to take the under here, so less than 15.5 fantasy score for Tua. So, we looked at Singletary's individual props. Let's do the same for Tua, and let's take a look at Tua's individual props. So, Tua's pass yards prop this week is set at 232.5. He has a rush yards prop set at 5.5. He has a 1.5 passing touchdowns prop, but that is a demon. So what that means is basically you get a higher payout for that because it's not as likely to happen. And then he has like pass attempts, stuff like that, but that's not really something we're looking at for fantasy score. What we really want to focus on here is the pass yards prop for Tua, rush yards prop, and then like his touchdown odds. So he's projected for 232 pass yards, which is about 8-9 fantasy points. That's like 9-10 fantasy points. And then if you look at his passing touchdowns prop, so he is offering, or Prizepicks is offering Tua pass touchdowns as a demon because it's a play that gives you a higher payout because it's not as likely to happen. But you can take a look at his odds to go under that passing touchdowns line, and on DK Sportsbook, right now Tua is minus 166, so he's a heavy favorite to go under 1.5 pass touchdowns. And then looking at Pinnacle as well, another sharp sportsbook, they have Tua minus 180 to go under 1.5 pass touchdowns. So most of the sports books are heavily favoring Tua to not throw 2 touchdowns in this game. And with his fantasy score line being set at 15.5, he almost has to throw 2 touchdowns to go over this line unless he throws for like 300 yards, which seems pretty unlikely. We know this is a game, everyone knows this is a game that has really bad weather. It's going to be super cold in Kansas City. It's supposed to be frigid temperatures. It's going to be like 0 degrees at kickoff. But there's going to be wind gusts up to 25 miles per hour, which is going to make the temperature feel like it's -20, -30 because of the wind. So, the total in this game has dropped a few points. It hasn't dropped a ton. If you look at the total in the Bills and Steelers game happening on Sunday, that total has dropped like 10 points. It opened at like 44. It's all the way down to 34. This total opened at, I think, 47. It's down to like 43. So this is not projected to be like a super low scoring game, but clearly the books are expecting the weather to have an impact on the passing game because 232 passing yards for Tua is definitely low. If this game was being played in Miami with no weather concerns, I think Tua's pass yards prop would be like 260, 270. If this game was being even if it was being played like in a dome, his pass yard props would be like 30, 40 yards higher. So clearly the books are expecting the weather to have an impact here, and Tua is heavily favored to go under 1.5 passing touchdowns. And like I said, it's going to be hard for Tua to go over this fantasy score unless he throws for 2 touchdowns, which he's heavily favored to not do. Because if he throws for like 230 yards and 1 touchdown, that only puts him at like 14 fantasy points, and that's assuming he doesn't have like an interception or something, which he could lose points for. That's assuming he doesn't, have a sack fumble, which he would lose points for as well. I guess he could throw for like 300 yards and a touchdown, and that would put him at 16 fantasy points, but it feels really unlikely that he would throw for that many yards. And he's not really going to give you much rushing upside. I mean, maybe he runs for like 5-10 yards, but rarely is Tua going to run for like a bunch of yards. I don't think he has like a single rushing touchdown this season. I might be wrong there. I'm going to check to confirm. Tua doesn't have a single rushing touchdown this season, so like you don't really think he ever is going to have a chance to get a rushing touchdown unless they do like a tush push or something, which I don't think I've ever seen the Dolphins do. So under 15.5 fantasy score, I do like a lot here for Tua. I just think, with how heavily favored he is to not throw 2 touchdowns, it's going to be hard for him to go over 15.5 fantasy points without throwing 2 touchdowns. So for example, like if Prizepicks if they had a 1.5 passing touchdown prop up for Tua that wasn't a demon, like if it was just an even line, everyone would be hammering the under on that. I feel like a lot of people, I feel like the fantasy score is kind of the same. Like I think this fantasy score line is kind of almost projecting Tua to throw 2 touchdowns, which he's very unlikely to do. So I like this play quite a bit. And again, kind of looking at some projections around the industry, the DFS projections that I use for my DFS play, they actually have Tua projected under this line, by a decent amount. They have him at 14.8 fantasy points, which I think is probably where this line should be. Like I think this line should be like 14 and a half. I think 15 and a half is a bit aggressive, especially given how the books are projecting Tua this week, given how his individual props are set up. I like this under quite a bit. So these are the 2 props, guys, that I do like for Saturday's NFL games. For the 2 games we have Browns and Texans, and then Chiefs and Dolphins. We're going to be playing Devin Singletary more than 13 fantasy score and Tua less than 15.5 fantasy score. If you guys are going to tail me on these two plays, hopefully we can hit both these plays and make some money on this Saturday slate. Again, guys, I do plan on making videos all postseason, and I do plan on making videos for the games on Sunday and for the game on Monday night. So be on the lookout for those later, on Saturday and on Sunday. I'll post those videos. But as always, I do appreciate you guys watching the videos and supporting the content. Make sure to hit that like button down below if you did enjoy. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And again, if you guys are new to Prizepicks and if you don't have an account over on Prizepicks, be sure to sign up. Use that promo code NOAH and get your first deposit matched up to $100 over on Prizepicks when you use that promo code NOAH. But that's all that I got for tonight, guys. Good luck. Hopefully we can all win some money this weekend. I'll see you guys in the next video.